crazy thing. A friend of mine had sent me a podcast to listen to. Well, it was a video, kind of like a YouTube video, and he's like, "Hey, I know you're going through a lot. I just want you to watch this." And it was faith based, and it was crazy because like there was a feeling, and not a feeling. I don't believe in coincidence anymore, but it was literally like Jesus was there. It was like speaking to me. He's like, "Hey, you're going to church tomorrow," and I'm like, "What? I haven't been to church in years." And he's like, "No, you need to go to church." And I'm like, "Okay, like whatever, okay." And it was just such a hard feeling that I could not go. So I got up the next
Ah,
morning. I went to church, and it was literally the sermon that I needed to hear. I walked
mm,
in and sat down and going through depression. Um, a lot of deep rooted stuff. And, the pastor just started out. He's like, "I got a great message for you. I just want you to know that Jesus Christ loves you and he wanted you to be here." And I was like, whoa, okay. we're getting, we're getting somewhere here because, the night before I had the feeling that I had to go. And it was just a perfect message about Jesus's
mm,
love. And, I went to the pastor after the sermon and I just said, "Hey, I just want you to know, I think that was meant for me. That was the perfect message." And he's like, "Would you think I was crazy if it was meant for you?" And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" And he's like, "I wrote this sermon for another person that's coming to faith, and they called me and said they weren't going to be there. I crumbled it up and went to throw it away, and Jesus spoke to me and said, 'No, somebody's coming tomorrow, and they need to hear this message.'" And I was
no
like, "You
way.
got to be kidding me! You got to be kidding me!" And it was just like it just hit so hard. And what's crazy is at the time. I was actually playing semi-pro football. Busy schedule. We were practicing all the time. Season was getting ready to start, and I didn't really dive further into faith at that moment. I was like, "Oh." Initially, I was like, "Oh, that was kind of a coincidence." I didn't buy into it, but like as the story progressed, I was like, "Oh, that was all supposed to happen, obviously." But that's where
That's
it really,
crazy.
yeah, that's where it all really started, and then. Um, Through that, he's been working on me hard. I kind of, I didn't go back in the faith. I ended up completely tearing my knee that same year. And I always tease. I was like, I didn't, I didn't work on my faith right away. I think God tried to slow me down and put me through a torn knee so that I would pay attention to Him and not the football. And he really started working on me through that. And and then going forward, like I said, I couldn't do anything for about a year and a half. I couldn't. I was in a wheelchair for a long time. It was a really bad tear.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, it was pretty much my ACL, PCL, meniscus, cracked knee. It was really bad. It happened in practice, which was the hardest part because like it was the practice before our season opener, and I was just so ready to play, so hyped up, and then that happened. And to be honest,
Mm.
initially I was like, "Oh, gee, here we go, God. You bring me into your faith, and then you allow this to happen." So it was kind of a pity party.
Yeah.
But
How
like I
was
said,
that? Like, did you have those feelings? Like, did you have like a feeling of like God did this to me, or like was that a little tough
initially
to go through?
initially I did, but I think, like I said, I think it was just a little bit of a pity party.
Mm.
And then as I got thinking about it more and stuff, I needed it because football was, other than my kids, football was my life, and um, I wasn't paying attention to him, and I was so caught up in the moment, so playing football, so exciting, um, and I wasn't working on my faith, and I think at that point I was getting older for football, so it was starting to hurt a lot more, and
Mm.
honestly, I think it was the perfect time for that to happen because it was tough in the meantime, but it made me so much stronger mentally. It grew my faith, and then it got me into fitness even more
Yeah.
through all that. So, yeah.